Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the course of this video lesson, I'll be solving different practice questions that cut across the subject biology. Now let's get into the first practice question, and it says, the vein which returns blood from the head and arm to the heart is called. So they are now asking us which vein returns blood from the head and from the arm to the heart. What's the name of the vein? Now, it is extremely very easy. First of all, we have to basically analyze the question. Now, I saw the word the vein. Now, before we even talk about the vein, I also saw the heart as well. Now, this must be noted. It must be noted here that the heart is the chief circulatory organ in the body, and it is made up of different blood vessels. Now you can see that. Now before I progress, you can see I said blood vessels. What are blood vessels? These are vessels to which blood flows. That's just a simple term to which blood vessels are. Do you understand? But going further, we must understand that the heart is made up of blood vessels. So they're not asking us specifically on the vein. The arteries and the veins, they are different. The heart, I said that, is made up of, is made up of chiefly the arteries and also the what? Vein. Though we have other, smaller arteries called the arterioles, smaller veins called the venules. We have the superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava, the pulmonary arteries, and also the pulmonary veins. As I solve this question, I'll be explaining them one after the other. So let us progress. So we've achieved that the heart is made up of chiefly the arteries and the veins, which are blood vessels. Now, this must be noted. Arteries from the word arteries, away. Do you understand? Arteries takes blood away from the heart. Listen carefully. Arteries what? Takes blood away from the heart. You can see A, letter A, away from the heart, whereby vein takes blood back to the heart. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, they are not asking us, the vein. Is it the artery? They said no, they said the vein. So first of all, we can actually eliminate some options here in this question, because anywhere I see artery, I'll know that that can never be my answer. Option D can never be the answer, because option D is pulmonary artery. It has its own function. I'm going to talk about that. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, option A is aorta. Aorta is regarded to be called the largest artery. It's called what? The largest artery. This must be noted. The aorta has different sections. We have the ascending aorta, we have the aortic arc, and also we have the descending aorta. But I'm not talking about the aorta now. Just know that the aorta is still an artery. So aorta option A can never still be the answer to this question, because the question stated the vein. And we already know that vein takes blood back to the heart. Arteries takes blood away from the heart. So on this, they're not asking us, the vein which returns blood or takes blood from the head, not just the head, and also the arm to the heart is called. Now, this is where we have to listen very carefully. Now, you can see that anywhere you see vena, this will tell you that this is a type of vein. Yes. Do you understand? This is a vein. Inferior vena cava is a type of vein. Superior vena cava is still a type of vein. So you will then have to now, because these are the options remaining, so definitely one of them will be the answer to this question, and it is very, very easy. From the word superior vena cava, these are veins that takes blood from those organs that are above the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a muscular sheath that separates the thoracic cavity. This is the thoracic cavity. Like, they separate the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Do you understand? So for the superior vena cava, these are, they are veins that takes blood from those organs above the diaphragm. So the organs or the structures above the diaphragm is one of them is the thorax, the head is above the diaphragm. Are you following me? The head is above the diaphragm, the neck is still above the diaphragm, the arms is above the diaphragm as well. So if you observe, you can see I've said that for superior, these are, there's superior vena cavas, they are the veins that takes blood that are above the diaphragm. Do you understand? They take blood from structures that are what? Above the diaphragm. If it was inferior, it is below the diaphragm. That's the legs. Do you understand? The girdle, specifically the pelvic girdle. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for the inferior vena cava, you can see that the head is above the diaphragm. You can see that the arm is above the diaphragm as well. If neck was here, it's still going to be correct. So the answer to this question, the vein which returns blood from the head, the arm, and even the neck to the heart is called the superior vena cava. And the type of blood now they take back to the heart, they are deoxygenated blood without oxygen. Do you understand? So when the blood goes back to the heart, the blood will be re-oxygenated. Do you understand? Before the blood is released from the heart. By which blood vessels now? Arteries. Are you following me? Because you already know that it is artery that takes blood away from the heart, whereby vein, either the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, we've explained now, we then take the blood back to the heart for what? Re-oxygenation. Whereby for pulmonary arteries, from the word pulmonary, it has to do with the lungs. Whenever you hear the term pulmonary, it has to do with what? The lungs. Are you getting me now? Now arteries, you already know that arteries takes blood away from the heart. So what's this terminology all about? So pulmonary arteries are arteries that takes blood away from the heart to the lungs. Do you understand? That's what pulmonary artery means. Because pulmonary is lungs, where the artery, they take blood away from the heart. So they take, actually, the type of blood they take is deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood, they will take it to the lungs for oxygenation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all of this said is very, very important. So with all of this said, let's get over to the next practice question, which is question number 2. Now, question number 2 says, if a child can receive blood from all donors, he belongs to the blood group. Now, we have different blood groups. As you can see in the options, we have blood group O, blood group A, blood group B, and blood group A and B, AB together. So now they're not asking us, a child can receive blood from all donor. So they're not asking us what type of blood group will that child have, if that child has the ability to receive blood from any type of human with these blood groups. Are you following me now? So on this, that blood group will be regarded to be called universal recipient blood group. Recipient has to do with receive. Do you understand? Something that receives something. So the point here is this: the blood group that have the ability to receive any type of blood is the blood group AB. So the blood group AB is regarded to be called the universal recipient. Okay, so this must be noted. The blood group AB is regarded to be called the universal recipient blood group, which has the ability to receive blood from any type of human having the other blood groups, which is blood group O, A, and B. Do you understand? So this must be noted. Now, it must be noted here that as we are having the universal recipient blood group, so we are having the universal donor blood group. So the universal donor, they have the ability to donate their blood to any individual having the other blood group. And that blood group that have the ability to donate their own blood, it is the blood group O. So blood group O is regarded to be called the universal donor blood group. But we have two types of O. We have O positive and also we have O negative. I get it now, but it must be noted here that it is the blood group O that is regarded to be called the universal donor blood group. Are you following me? So it is actually very easy. So moving further to question number 3, which says the appendicular skeleton is made up of. Now, this question is extremely very easy. First of all, you must know that the human skeleton is of 2 groups. We have the axial skeleton and also the appendicular skeleton. Do you understand? Talking about the axial skeleton, it is made up of the head, that's specifically the skull, not just the skull, the vertebral column, which houses the spinal cord, and lastly, the ribs. So these are the components of the axial. Listen carefully. The skull, the vertebral column, and which houses the spinal cord and also the rib. That's for axial. While for appendicular, it is made up of what we call the girdles. Listen, the girdles and also the limbs, either the upper limb or the lower limb for the legs. Do you understand? Listen carefully. It is made up of the girdles. Girdles, we have the pectoral girdle. This is the pectoral. We have the pelvic that makes up the hip bones, the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. That's for the pelvic girdles. While for the pectoral girdle, that's the one that's made up of what? And the shoulder blade, the clavicle bone, and the rest. Do you understand? Now, look at what I just said. For the appendicular skeleton, it's made up of what now? The girdles, which can be either the pelvic girdle or the pectoral girdle, and also the limbs. Do you understand? Which can be either the upper limb or the lower limbs for the leg. This is the upper limbs. Do you understand? Which is made up of, this is the shoulder, the first bone here, which is called the humerus. We have the radius, we have the ulna, and also the bones of the hand called the carpus, the metacarpus, and also the phalanges. Do you understand? So this must be noted for the appendicular skeleton, which they asked. So for option A, you can see here only bare limbs. We can actually look towards that, but let's just hold on. Option B, I saw skull and limb. No, appendicular skeleton is not made up of the skull. That's for the axial. So option B is already out. Option A, let's just leave that. For option C, it is phalanges. Yeah, phalanges is part though, but let us progress to option D. Option D is girdles and limbs. Yes, I've said that already. This is the answer to the question. Do you understand? I said that it is made up of the girdles, be either the pectoral, the pelvic, and the limbs, the upper and the lower limb. So option D is the answer to this question. Moving over to the next practice question, which is question number 4. It says the hereditary material of a cell is ADP, DNA, FAD, and ATP. Now, even if you actually don't know this question, or you've not actually seen this type of question before, with one of the options here, I believe you know the answer to this question, because there's a term here that we often use, and we use this term to describe, genetic informations. Do you understand? I believe you already know the answer to this question. The answer to this question is option B, DNA. DNA is the hereditary material of a cell. Do you understand? Though we have another, which is RNA. That one talk about gene expression, resemblance, variations of genes. Do you understand what I'm saying? But DNA is the primary hereditary material. RNA is not like the primary. Do you understand? I said it's for gene expression. While ADP, no. ATP is not even part. FAD is not part. ATP is not part as well. For ADP, it's called adenosine. A is adenosine diphosphate. D is diphosphate. While for ATP is adenosine triphosphate. They are energy molecules. They provide energy in the cell. That's for these guys. While for FAD, they are regarded to be called coenzymes. They are regarded to be called what? Coenzymes. The word coenzyme means that they assist enzymes in their functions. FAD is called flavin adenine dinucleotide. Do you understand? These guys, they as Ella said, they assist enzymes in various metabolic processes in the human body. We have various metabolic processes in the human body, like glycolysis, like Krebs cycle, and so on. All of these things must be noted. So let's get over to the next practice question. Moving further, let's get into the next practice question, and it says plants which can survive in places where water supply is limited are. Now this question is extremely very easy. We have to look at the word plants first of all. Anything that ends with plant should be called a phyte. Listen carefully. In classification, when I hear the word xerophytes, I know that okay, those groups of plants, those groups of organisms are plants. Anything that ends with phyte is a plant, but anything that ends with zoa is an animal. Are you getting my point? So all of these ended with phyte, so they are all plants. But they're not asking us which set of plants can actually survive where water supply is limited. So this word limited means that where water supply is insufficient. Listen carefully. Don't mistake it from where water supply is moderate. Do you understand? Where water supply is limited, meaning that water supply is not adequate, it is insufficient. But with this, they can still survive. They are regarded to be called xerophytes. You can see them here. The word zero means dry. Do you understand? That's why a condition whereby it leads to dryness of the eyes is called xerophthalmia. Anything dry, zero. Do you understand? Hydrophytes, they are plants that lives where water supply is adequate. They cannot survive where water is not found. A good example is the water lily. Do you understand? For this, it is the cactus plant, the Cactus opuntia. Do you understand? Whereby for pteridophytes, they are, divisions of plants that lives in moist environment. This means that the water should not be too much, but just moist. Do you understand? A good example of organisms here is fern. Do you understand? Fern is a pteridophyte. This belongs to the division called the pteridophyta. Organisms belonging there, they are called pteridophytes, like the talophyta. Organisms belonging there, they are called talophytes. Whereby for mesophytes, they are a group of plants that lives where water supply is moderate. Do you understand? Like JAMB is a good example here. So let's get into the next practice question, and it says, which of the following will not allow osmosis to take place? First of all, we have to know what osmosis is. Actually, osmosis is the process, or it is the movement now, of water molecules. Take note. For osmosis, it has to do with just one state of matter. Anytime we talk about osmosis, there's another term we always discuss about, and it's called diffusion. On diffusion, it deals with the three states of matter, whereby for osmosis, it deals with just one state of matter, and it is liquid, which is the water now. So osmosis is the movement of water from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Listen carefully, I said through what? A semi-permeable membrane. Now, the word membrane can be in different types. You can see I've called one called semi-permeable. We have membranes that are permeable, meaning that substance can pass through them, and we have membranes that are impermeable. Impermeable membranes. Listen carefully. Membranes can be permeable, semi-permeable, and impermeable. For permeable membranes, these are membranes that allow substance completely to pass through them. While for semi-permeable, not all substance can actually pass through them. But just know that not all substance passes through the semi-permeable membrane. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereby for impermeable membrane, no substance can actually pass through it. Impermeable. Do you understand? And we have good examples of semi-permeable membrane that you should always note, that you should always watch out for in your exam. One of them is called pig's bladder, another is cow's bladder, another is parchment paper, another is cellophane as well. Do you understand? So if you observe, which one did I not mention? I did not mention transparent polythene. This is not a semi-permeable membrane. This is an impermeable membrane. It will not allow osmosis to take place. Do you understand? So the answer to this question is option C. I'm going to put a picture of a transparent polythene so you see what I'm talking about. Where others can actually allow substance to pass through them, but for this, it cannot. And we already know that osmosis has to do with the movement of what? Water. From a region of what? Lower concentration to a region of what? Higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. But if it was diffusion, it is the direct opposite, which is the movement of molecules, be either water, gases, solids, from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Are you getting my point? So that's for that. So moving further, let's get into the next practice question, which is question number 7, and it says, in rhizopus, carbohydrate is stored in form of what? First of all, we have to know what rhizopus is. Me looking at rhizopus, I already know that rhizopus is a fungi. Listen carefully. Rhizopus is what? A fungi. We have various divisions of fungi. We have the ascomycota, where yeast belongs to, okay, and we have the deuteromycota, we have the cytridiomycota, we have the basidiomycota, as the case may be. But just note this, that for rhizopus is a fungi. Now, this must be noted about rhizopus being a fungi. So it must be noted here that fungi generally, they store their food in form of glycogen. Note this. They don't store their food in form of starch. What stores their food in form of starch? It is plants. Are you following me? This must be noted. Plants stores their food in the form of starch, What stores their food in the form of paramylon? It is called the euglena viridis. Do you understand? You know euglena now. You know euglena is a protist, or I can as well call it a protista. We have different kingdoms of classification. We have the kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plant and Animal. I mentioned kingdom Protista. Protistas generally can be of two groups. We have protistas that behaves like plants. They are called the plant-like protists, also regarded to be called the protophytes. You can say I call the word fighter. So protophyta is a good example of the plant-like protists, whereby the animal-like protists, they are called the protozoas. Now, euglena is basically an organism that behaves like a plant and also an animal. But now this guy is called euglena. The way they store their food is in the form of what? Paramylon. Do you understand? There are reasons to which euglena is a plant, and also there are reasons to which euglena is an animal. One of the reasons to which euglena is an animal because it has what we call flagella, which it uses for what? Movement, locomotion. Whereby one of the reasons why euglena is a plant, it has chloroplast for photosynthesis. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this must be noted. There are other numerous reasons as well. Moving further, let's get into question number 8, and it says, which of the following cell component is common in both plants and animal cells? Now, actually, option A, which is mitochondria, is seen in both plant and animal cells. This one they're asking me now, like, it's not common to both plant and animal cell, meaning that it is found in plant, it is not found in animal. It is found in animal, it is not found in plant. That's what they're actually asking us. Yeah, that's what they're actually asking us. Like option A now, mitochondria, is found in both of them. It is common to both. They're asking which one is not common to both. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of a cell that produces energy for that cell. Do you understand? Chloroplast? No. Chloroplast is not common to both of them. Chloroplast is found only in plant cells because chloroplast helps to produce pigments called the chlorophyll pigment for photosynthesis. Remember, plants only have the ability to what? Photosynthesize. Plants can what? Photosynthesize. That's why plants are regarded to be called the autotrophs. Plants are what? Autotroph. They undergo what type of nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition. Whereby animals undergo what type of nutrition? Heterotrophic nutrition. They depend on already made food. Whereby for ribosome is present in both of them. Ribosome is for protein synthesis. Do you understand? Protein what? Synthesis. Whereby vacuole is for storage of food, which is present in both type of cells. So this must be noted. Moving further to question number 9, it says the removal of a man's pancreas by surgical operation will affect. Now, pancreas is basically a gland found in the human body. Listen carefully. The pancreas is an endocrine gland. What are endocrine glands? They are the ductless glands. The glands whereby when they produce their substances, it then goes directly into the bloodstream. Now, this pancreas gland sometimes can be regarded to be a dual gland because, listen, it has both. Now, glands are of two groups, endocrine and also exocrine. Why am I saying that the pancreas is a dual gland, meaning that it has two functions? Because the endocrine function of the pancreas gland is to produce hormones. You know, hormones generally are produced by the endocrine glands, whereby any other substances in the body are produced by the exocrine glands. Remember, hormones are chemical substances. The hormones produced by the pancreas gland is the insulin and glucagon. You know, insulin and glucagon are hormones produced by the pancreas gland, specifically by a cell called the islet of Langerhans. This is the cell that produces specifically what now? The insulin and glucagon, Langerhans. Insulin and what? Glucagon, they have their respective functions. Actually, there are other cells inside the islet of Langerhans, the delta cell, the alpha cell, and also the beta cells as well. Beta cells produces insulin, whereby alpha cells produces glucagon. Are you following me now? So you can see that this is the endocrine function of the pancreas gland. What are the exocrine function of the pancreas gland? The exocrine function of the pancreas gland is that it has the ability to produce enzymes, which are three groups. We have the amylase, we have the protease, and also we have lipase. These are the enzymes produced by the exocrine function of the pancreas gland. You know, these enzymes act on the class of food, like amylase act on carbohydrate, carbs. Protease acts on what? Proteins. Whereby lipase act on lipids, also regarded to be called fat and oil. So now you can see the functions of this gland. I've explained it in a very easy way to understand. So when this pancreas gland is being removed from the body, it will affect, you know, this helps in digestion, whereby these hormones, insulin and glucagon, helps in blood glucose regulation. Do you understand? Because if these hormones are not produced well in the body, the blood glucose regulation in the body will not function properly. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the body might be hyperglycemic in a particular instant, also can be hypoglycemic. That's what it means for hyperglycemic, high blood glucose level, hypoglycemic, low blood glucose level. Do you understand? Hypo, low, hyper, high. So if these hormones are not being regulated well, the body system can just, you know, go towards the high side, hyper. It's not good for the body system. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is why these hormones are actually very, very important in the body. So when this pancreas gland is surgically removed, maybe because of tumor, cancer, as the case may be, then it affects digestion and also affects blood glucose level. So take note of what I just said, digestion and blood glucose level. Whereby for question number 10, the last question for this video lesson is, one disease not caused by bacteria is what? The answer is malaria. Yeah, malaria is not caused by bacteria. Malaria is caused by a microbe called Plasmodium. And Plasmodium, listen carefully, malaria is caused by Plasmodium, and Plasmodium is not a bacteria but rather a protozoan or a protozoa. Do you know what I'm saying? Tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, whereby tetanus is caused by a bacteria as well called Clostridium tetani. Do you understand? You know, tetanus is also called locked jaw. People who develop this condition may have locked jaw in form of seizures and the rest. Do you understand? So we've come to the end of this video lesson. If you find my video lesson helpful, make sure you click on the subscribe button to my channel and also share these lessons with your friends. Thanks for watching.